If there's one thing we gamers do better than any other fandom, it's scour our beloved titles for secrets, clues, and reasons to revisit the experience itself, just to ensure we're getting as much as possible from any given title. From Software's games in particular steer headlong into this stuff, packing all the Souls games, Bloodborne and Sekiro with a ton of extra info, hidden weapons, sometimes entire characters and arcs, reserved for the most die-hard players. Regardless, video games and secrets go together like fatalities and Mortal Kombat. For the most part, when we talk about secrets in games, they tend to be ancillary, optional, or just off the beaten path. But a whole ton are right in front of you, it just takes some choice pieces of information to make them known. I'm Scott from WhatCulture.com, and these are 9 video game secrets that were hiding in plain sight. Number 9. FAYE'S Messages, God of War. 2018's God of War is all about Kratos coming to terms with his violent past while raising the innocent boy Atreus. But there is a depth to the storytelling and world design that rewards continual dissection. Case in point, the role of Faye, Kratos' wife. Though the opening scene sees her being cremated, Faye is revealed to be a giant, and a powerful one at that. Her role is more as a plot device until the closing moments, as it's here where we see that Faye has carved a mural depicting past and future events. From Kratos and Atreus meeting the world serpent Jormungandr to fighting Baldur, and her own death atop a pyre, there's even a prediction that Kratos, or someone who looks a lot like him, will die in Atreus' arms. The really insane thing though, as Atreus points out if you haven't already realized, the ruins adorning this imagery match the golden patterns and iconography that told you where it was safe to climb, mantle and explore across the whole game. Faye knew exactly where you would go, and went on a very similar adventure beforehand, paving the way for the two of you to bond until all was revealed at the top of the mountain. Number 8. The hidden credit sequence, Sonic the Hedgehog. Sonic might be one of the most lovable scamps in gaming history, but his creation was fraught with tension and disagreement between Sega and creators such as Yuji Naka. Going through a number of variations including giving Sonic a human girlfriend, having him front a rock band, then after the American wing of Sega offered their input, adding Michael Jackson's sneakers from the Bad video, it's safe to say any through-line creative vision was mostly done away with. Even worse was the culture within Sega at the time, which led to the assumption that regardless of how many staff worked on a given project, they shouldn't be given appropriate credit. Instead, the higher-ups just wanted Sega to be responsible for Sonic, and to this day, it's why more people associate the company with the character, rather than people like Yuji Naka or Naito Oshima, who actually drew Sonic in the first place. Thankfully, Yuji and his team slipped one past Sega themselves, and it lives in every original Japanese version of Sonic to this day. A full staff credits list coded in black text on a black background that you can only unlock with a lengthy cheat code. After tapping in some specific digits, the Sonic Team's present screen will change to what you see here, and all the requisite people who actually brought you Sonic can finally be appreciated. Number 7. Why Did You Kill Me? Silent Hill 2. Every day Konami continue the Silent Hill franchise as a set of pachinko machines is another missed opportunity. Silent Hill 2 in particular is arguably the finest of the bunch, coming with all manner of macabre imagery and twisted interpretations of inner thoughts, making up the demons and monsters of Silent Hill itself. See, the titular town changes based on who's visiting and why, but in James Sunderland's case, he's trying to find his missing wife Mary. The whole game is centered on unraveling this mystery, and its reputation hinges on some of the best plot twists of all time. Only, well, listen closely to when James acquires a radio containing a message from Mary at the very beginning. Did you catch it? Mary can be heard pretty clearly saying, "Why did you kill me?" The game's pre-release version didn't even have the static to mask the dialogue, and the twist can be heard plain as day.
Why did you kill me?
So much for waiting until the back third of the story to blow our minds. Number 6. The Riddle, Trials HD. Okay, this is crazy. A level of clue finding and cerebral athletics on a Jonathan Blow type level. Because although Trials HD gradually lent into wider lore surrounding cloning factories of bodies being thrown at obstacle courses, back in Trials HD, something even grander was right in front of us the whole time. A commentary on the meaning of life. Coming through a slew of symbols, images, and equations, developers RIDDLES clearly put these in for the most eagle-eyed players, or the most dedicated online detectives. To even find the pieces of this riddle, you had to drive off the beaten path, falling down crevices or going the wrong way, often ending up in an unwinnable state, but at least you had another piece of the puzzle. Thankfully, you can now find years worth of time invested by scores of fans in the Trials Games channel's video, which we'll show some segments of right now. Everything from Ludwig van Beethoven's symphonies to Piri Reis's map of the world in 1513 are in here, centering on the notion of curiosity, expression, and purpose. Creative director Antti Ilvesuo would later state that he didn't create the meaning of life riddle specifically, but that he set the rules out instead. The point was that players would interact with the clues across the game to create their own fascination with wonder and the pursuit of knowledge. Either way, the meaning of life continues to be as elusive as it is rewarding, no matter what you're playing or how you experience it. Number 5. Hideo Kojima's expert foreshadowing. Metal Gear Solid 1 and 4. Hideo Kojima, master of video game storytelling, tends to load his games with face value brilliance and action-based set pieces, plus a constant underpinning of philosophy and political commentary. To that end, if you're paying attention, you might start to unfurl a bunch of plot threads before you're supposed to. Examples like the following do happen across the entire franchise, but I've picked 2 specific ones that I thought were just great. Number 1, Master Miller being Liquid Snake. Forming one of the coolest rug pulls in gaming, your mentor Master Miller is actually dead the whole time, having been replaced and voiced by Nemesis Liquid Snake. However, you can get a pretty big clue that something is afoot with Miller, as during the battle against Liquid Snake flying the Hind D helicopter, he's unreachable. Even after the duel, as Liquid plummets into a fiery ball of near death, Miller remains uncontactable, cluing you in as to what's really happening with the character. Number 2, Big Boss's corpse is Solidus Snake. Now, you really need to be wide awake to catch this, but in Act 3 of Metal Gear Solid 4, during all the scenes with Liquid Ocelot taking control of GW, the camera shows the body everyone's fighting over, and the left eye is missing. Now, if you know your Metal Gear Solid lore, you know that Solidus is the only one of the snakes missing his left eye, as opposed to Big Boss, who had his right one shot out. Very, very good and very clever, Kojima, but you won't get one over on us fans just yet. Number 4, Doc Ock's plan to break everyone out of RYKER'S, Spider-Man PS4. It's time-tested, lovable stuff, and praise to Insomniac's writers. They really made us believe that the game might subvert the obvious, letting Octavius emerge without losing himself to his inventions. Hell, they even opened the game on his arm tech going haywire just to tip the nod. All that said though, despite the fact we get a proper villain turn cutscene as Ock starts climbing around New York later in the game, dispersing poisonous gas in all directions, you can watch his descent into madness one bad decision at a time. To do so, just look at the walls of his laboratory and you'll find the plans for RYKER'S prison, the place where Ock stages his mass breakout at the close of the game. Even back at the beginning, he's making notes on guard rotations and where security is most centralized, saying to Peter that this consulting work is just to pay the bills. Over time, his whiteboard gets ever more cluttered, filled with sporadic thoughts and mad ramblings as Otto completely turns into Doc Ock. We then do find out in the final battle that Otto was lying to Peter for the duration of the game, but it's made all the more obvious if you were seeing him embrace the darkness the whole time. Number 3, the secret birthday message, Halo 3. Sometimes in life, you're just not going to be able to make a loved one's birthday. In senior engineer Adrian Perez's case though, he was busy putting together Halo 3, so hopefully people can forgive him. Brilliantly, in an attempt to make ends meet, Perez coded a hidden birthday message inside Halo 3's main title screen, though it went unnoticed for 7 years. At least that was by everyone other than his wife, who it was actually intended for. Back in 2014 though, fan Lord Zed realized that if you set your Xbox 360's internal clock to the 25th of December, i.e. Christmas Day, then clicked both analog sticks in when the game was loading its main menu, you'd get Happy Birthday Lauren displayed inside the Halo ring itself. Altogether now, duh. Number 2, Calendar Man's Rocksteady Riddles, Batman Arkham City. These are just brilliant. Indicative of just how much care and attention Rocksteady put in their games, you can visit the notorious Calendar Man in Arkham City, only for him to spin a huge amount of varying information depending on which date your console clock is set to. Christmas Day, Independence Day, Father's Day, Mother's Day, April Fools, they're all fair game. However, 3 years after launch, a dummy YouTube account actually set up by Rocksteady themselves posted a video called Arkham City Secret ? It seemed there was one specific date that no one had thought of, and it set the fandom into a frenzy of clue hunting. The answer came from the fan channel Batman Arkham Videos, who realized that if you punch in December 13th, 2004 into your system, it triggers the last piece of dialogue from Calendar Man. December 13th, 2004 is the date Sefton Hill and Jamie Walker founded Rocksteady Studios, and Calendar Man's dialogue describes their time working alongside the franchise. Well, and on today of all days. Do you remember my early work? Flawed, but it showed promise, just like you. As your skills improved, I perfected mine. Starting with seasons and moving through the weeks, I became stronger. My work more elaborate. Days were the secret, Batman, and the end of days is coming. Best of all, he ends this monologue with, "I was there at the beginning and I will be there at your end," a line that many thought still referenced the developers. Maybe it did, but look to the final scene of Arkham Knight's true ending, and who is that we can see in the crowd? At your end, indeed. Number 1, the identity of the killer, Deadly Premonition. Deadly Premonition might be the most fun murder mystery in the history of gaming. It's so ludicrously self-aware about Western entertainment tropes, but every character exchange and revelation is injected with copious amounts of Eastern quirk, courtesy of creative director Hidetaka Swery65 Suhiro. Another thing that makes it all so lovable is going back through a second playthrough, realizing that there are tons of clues pointing out the fact that Sheriff George's identity as the killer was staring you in the face all along. First up, there's the fact that one of the first things he says upon Agent Morgan's arrival is that you don't have to be a tree worshipper to appreciate the wildlife here, referencing his actual worship of trees. Next is the fact that his tree has a red vine growing around it, with another being outside the police station, just like the red seedlings that led Agent Morgan to Greenvale in the first place. And if you really want a smoking gun, George's car's license plate is literally, he's the one. How, in retrospect, did it take us that long to connect the dots? And those are all my examples of video game secrets hiding in plain sight. Let me know what you think down in the comments below. Which one was your favorite, and are there any that I missed? I've been Scott from WhatCulture.com. Please check out the WhatCulture Gaming Podcast, and I'll catch you soon.